to Leitner. Puts it up.
You're listening to the Culture State Podcast.
Get ready. Woo!
It's the Culture State Podcast right here. I am Chris Lee.
I'm Dennis Cox. Chris, more 336 love once again on today's podcast. There's so much of it on this show. But hey, you know what? I'm starting to appreciate the 336 just a little bit more because of you, Chris, and all these fantastic guests that we've been having.
It's almost like you've gotten a mini tour of the 336 without even actually going to the 336. I've just virtually allowed you to meet a few people that that made everything kind of move and shake.
You know, there's one staple place in the Triad that I go to anytime I'm out in that area. That's Acme Comics. It's a fantastic comic book shop. Anytime I'm in the area, I stop by there. It's a fantastic place. Check it out. If you need a holiday gift, go buy some comic books. If you need help picking it out, give me a DM at the Fan Rookie. But also, it's a great way to read comic books, Chris, or even just watch professional wrestling when pizza. You have pizza. That's right, Chris. Papa Murphy's Pizza. Every Tuesday, $10.99 large pizzas at Papa Murphy's. Also, for the whole month of December, when you order online, this is for the folks in the Raleigh area and also down in Wilmington, the select stores. If you use the code UNC33 when you check out, 33% of your purchase goes to UNC Children's Hospital. So not only can you get good pizza, you can help a great cause as well. Papa Murphy's, change the way you pizza.
One of the things you can also do, go in on a Tuesday, get two pizzas, right? $10.99 and for each pizza, and eat one, on Tuesday night.
Yep. Wednesday,
get ready for AEW Dynamite and just sit in front of the couch and watch it. Or instead, it could be your pregame meal because AEW Dynamite is coming to North Carolina twice within the next few weeks. And one of the AEW stars is our guest on the show today.
Yeah, Griff Garrison. He's only, 23 years old, one half of Varsity Blondes. He's got a nice flowing locks of blonde hair, something I will never achieve in my life. That is long hair, but that is totally fine. Some of us just aren't built for it. But he is one of the up-and-coming young stars in All Elite Wrestling. And this is actually, I think, a sign of any great company, whether it's professional wrestling or in the media business, sports, whatever it is. You have to cultivate young talent. You can't just continue to go out and sign like the big level stars because eventually they're going to go away. They're going to retire, whatever it may be, or injuries happen. So you have to cultivate young talent. And that's something that AEW has done. They have this fantastic blend of these already established superstars that came from other promotions. But they signed their young guys who are just coming up as their own. Whether it's young guys like Darby Allin, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., who may have wrestled in independent promotions, but you know what? Come to the big leagues. We're going to cultivate you. We're going to grow you to be a star while you still being yourself. We're not going to put you in a formula to try and be something. Like, you know what? We're going to let you figure out who you are, and we're going to make sure that you shine.
I think that's one of the special things about AEW, and they've recognized the beauty of blending old, current, and new. And making this wonderful mix. And so if you look at AEW right now, there's so much North Carolina representation within it. And when you talk about the old, you think about Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. These guys, wrestled in so many towns all across North Carolina as a part of the Four Horsemen. You think about Matt Hardy, who's there. He's leading a young stable full of guys. From Cameron, North Carolina. He's at the tail end of his career, but still wrestling, still doing his thing, and he's giving back. And you think about current stars. He's from Virginia, but he, made a lot of his name independently in North Carolina. Adam Page. He's currently the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Been on many shows with me in the state of North Carolina, and I would say specifically Charlotte, where he was big with PWX. Down there in Charlotte. And then you have the stars of the future. You've seen Darius Lockhart, and we've seen Griff Garrison. Two guys from North Carolina, two guys that's on the come up. And I'm sorry, how can I even forget FTR? Currently right now, one of the best probably the best tag team in the world.
They're good.
Both guys from North Carolina. They're built out of Asheville. And, it's just, you can't beat what North Carolina is giving to AEW, and there's so much further we can go. And I'm excited to talk to Griff Garrison. He was somebody that was coming in wrestling as I was leaving wrestling myself, and really good wrestler.
Well, it seems like there's been a lot of great training here in the state of North Carolina, Chris. All the names you mentioned, even other guys who've wrestled in WWE, like No Way Jose, Cedric Alexander is from North Carolina as well. We've talked with guys like obviously Shane Helms, Jeff Hardy. We've talked to so many of these fantastic wrestlers. Must be something in the water here, Chris. I don't know what it is. When people step in the wrestling ring, I don't know. I don't know what it is. For some reason, it just churns out star after star after star. I don't know, Chris. You've been in the ring. Is there something different about it? I don't know. You tell me.
I can't say that, it's something different from other states or whatever, because I just don't know. But I think the fundamentals are there. Yeah. And that's one of the things like, Dax Harwood, who, is part of FTR in AEW. We've had personal conversations before. And one of the things, when you were thinking about the prototypical WWE superstar, you don't think Dax Harwood, right? But one of the reasons why, and that's no slight against him, it's just that, WWE is looking for a certain type, but he had a pretty long career within WWE, could still be with WWE. It was their choice to leave. Yeah. WWE still wanted those guys. But he was saying one of the things that kept him around was he just knew how to make everybody look good. Yeah. The guy that they were really high on in the office that didn't know how to work a lick, he knew how to make that guy look good. The guy that was the indie darling that when they got in there and they didn't really know how to work a lick, they were just really good on the indies. He knew how to make those guys look good. And it's something about the fundamentals here. He was trained by, I believe, George South. And shout outs to George South. That's somebody that we probably have to get on the podcast at some point because he was the guy known as the jobber who lost to Dusty Rhodes, who lost to Ric Flair, all that. But he's also trained so many guys. He was instrumental in the training of Matt and Jeff Hardy. Even though they were self-trained, he kind of helped them along the way afterwards. Jeff Hardy talked about that on this show. He trained Cedric Alexander. He trained Darius Lockhart. He trained so many guys. He trained Caleb Conley. A lot of those guys that came out of Charlotte, in the Charlotte area, and there's still plenty more that's out there, was touched by George South. And then you had CWF Mid-Atlantic. That's where Trevor Lee was at. And who's now Cameron Grimes. No Way Jose came out of there with myself. So many other people came out of that area as well. And then also Lodi, former WCW star. He's trained a lot of people, including Charlotte Flair and a lot of other folks. So, there's fundamentals, but then also almost any corner you turn in North Carolina, there's somebody who's a legit trainer. And right now you have LeBron Cozone, one of my friends coming out of Greensboro right now, who's the trainer of Griff Garrison, who's our guest today, and also Marcus Cross.
It's almost like Kinston in basketball, it's just like, they're just turning them out, like really just turn them out. But there's also, I'm sure as well, and this is, you see this in different pockets of the country, depending on what you're doing. But like, for example, here, like basketball in this state, like, all right, this is North Carolina. It's basketball. You better step up your game. Like there's an expectation. There's a standard that comes from being in North Carolina when you play basketball, whether it's high school, college, youth, whatever it is. There's just a standard. Like for example, if you're a Pittsburgh Steeler, you play defense, there's a standard, no matter what position you play. When it comes to professional wrestling in North Carolina, it just seems like, hey, this is the standard that's set in this state. No offense to, Iowa, or any of these other places or Indiana, but there's just a standard that, again, with all these people that we've listed that have come from here, is like, you know what, if you want to be good, that's where you have to be. So yeah, fundamentals are very important. And again, like we mentioned earlier, it's great seeing a company like AEW cultivate this young talent and invest in young talent. I think it's something that a lot of companies don't do. They don't invest in the young talent that have the potential that they can grow within their company. That's across the board, across all industries. But AEW seems to have found out, you know what? Get this young guy, Griff Garrison. He's 23. He's good. He's got a great look, and he's only going to get better. He could be a future star for us. They went after guys like him, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, MJF, Sammy Guevara. They went after all these young talents, and even on the women's side too. He's paired with Julia Hart and Varsity Blondes. You look at Red Velvet, Jade Cargill. Get this young talent, make them grow.
And I'm glad they've identified North Carolina as a spot that they want to, I guess, plant their flag in. because, within in the matter of 3 weeks, they're making 3 stops.
Yeah.
And I think it's also made WWE kind of step up their game a little bit, because WWE is coming to Fayetteville pretty soon. I think sometime in January.
Yeah, they're coming.
And then also I think they're going to come back to Charlotte like in February. And it's like they have to circle back around. WWE was just in Greensboro in November. So North Carolina has almost become a battleground, and that's kind of cool to see that. And when good wrestling comes out of North Carolina, that means that you have to bring a lot of good wrestling to North Carolina. So if you're unfamiliar with AEW, if unfamiliar with Griff Garrison, here's a chance to learn who he is. And you might as well, Greensboro, Charlotte, then Raleigh, you have 3 opportunities to watch him in person, and you will not be disappointed whatsoever. But here's a chance to get a chance to know one of the upcoming stars. His name is Griff Garrison, right here on the Culture State Podcast. All right, for all of our wrestling fans out there, if you haven't learned what AEW is, or watch the organization, you might need to start watching. And you have 3 opportunities coming up very soon in the state of North Carolina to watch AEW live in person. December 22nd in Greensboro, January 8th in Charlotte at the Bojangles Coliseum, and also January 12th in Raleigh. So they're going to do pretty much the whole tour of North Carolina, all the biggest markets coming up really soon. And the person we're talking to right now, one of the AEW stars, Griff Garrison from the state of North Carolina. And so welcome to Culture State. First off, it's good to get a chance to talk to you, but I want to get it to know what your excitement level is to wrestle in Greensboro, pretty much down the street from where you learned how to become a professional wrestler.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I was actually talking about this last night to a couple of my friends. I've went there my whole life to watch wrestling. Like, I've paid money to go there, like, almost every year of my life since I've lived in North Carolina, to go there and watch wrestling. And now to be able to go there and probably in front of a sellout crowd at the Greensboro Coliseum and to perform, it's just going to be something very special to me. No matter what happens, no matter who I wrestle, no matter the scenario, like, it'll be a dream come true of mine to be able to be in the ring at the Greensboro Coliseum instead of sitting in the stands. So that's going to be a really cool moment for me.
Who are some of those people that you enjoyed watching wrestling in Greensboro growing up?
Oh man, I could go on forever with that. John Cena, Edge. I remember CM Punk, Big Show, like just anybody and everybody, man. I was just such a huge fan of everybody because I just enjoyed the atmosphere. I enjoyed watching people just beat each other up when I was a kid. Like, I don't know, I loved it, man. It was great.
Speaking of Paul White and CM Punk, you'll probably be sharing a locker room with those guys backstage. And have there been any mark out moments? Since you've been in the AEW, like, man, I really grew up like watching you a lot, and I've saw you so many times, and now you get a chance to kind of share a locker room with those people at the Greensboro Coliseum. Have you thought about that and maybe shared those moments with those guys?
Yeah, I've definitely marked out just twice though now. Over Paul White and CM Punk. I haven't really told them directly because I don't want to like mark out of their face, but I definitely like when they both debuted and when they both like came and I met them for the first time, like that was a really cool moment for me because not only did I grow up like watching like Paul and CM Punk and stuff, my family did too, so they were kind of jealous of me. So it was kind of funny.
All right, Griff, let's go from training in the Greensboro area to getting down to AEW. Mm-hmm. How did you get noticed by them? Who contacted you first? What was that process like to go from training and wrestling in the Triad to, hey, I'm in Daly's place in Jacksonville on national TV. What was that transition like? How did that process take place?
Well, so yeah, like you said, I started training in 2016 in Greensboro, and then all of a sudden, like I was getting out on the indies and doing more, mainly in like the Southeast area, like Atlanta, that area in Georgia. I ran into a guy. His name is Bill Behrens, and he's like the wrestling agent. Like he's the one of the main guys in wrestling that you want to impress. And luckily, I was fortunate enough to impress him. And he's close with a lot of people at AEW. One of those people being Christopher Daniels. And one day, it was during the COVID season. Like COVID had hit, and I was actually looking for a job as a teacher because that's what I got my degree in, education and history. And one day I got a call while I was doing that, and it was Bill, and he said, "Look, man, you're going to Jacksonville for a couple of days. You're going to do a few matches. Just go out and impress them." And I guess I impressed them. They called me back. And now it's just like they keep calling me back, man. They can't get rid of me. I don't know. Now we're here.
Yeah, that's awesome right there. And that's one of the things that I'm so proud of, like you and Marcus. I remember seeing you guys kind of pop up, as Cozone. Cozone used to be. So I got to introduce you to Cozone Dennis. He's a pro wrestler in the Greensboro area, and he has his school and the organization Firestar Pro Wrestling. And I actually used to be the Firestar Pro Wrestling champion back in, I think, 2014.
No flex.
And Cozone is their trainer, and I just remember seeing these two guys kind of pop up and seeing clips of their matches, and like early on they were really good together. But I also read that you and Marcus Cross almost before COVID signed with Ring of Honor. How did that happen, and what like changed in that trajectory?
Yeah, we did almost sign with Ring of Honor. So we had we had like 3 or 4 matches probably over the course of, I would say 2 or 3 months there, where we wrestled like the Tate twins. We wrestled the Briscoes for the tag titles, and we wrestled Dalton Castle and Joe Hendry in Atlanta. And then after that, Delirious kind of pulled us to the side and was like, "Hey, we're thinking about signing you guys," that sort of thing.
That's awesome.
But unfortunately, like the next day, Ring of Honor was in Concord. Sorry, they were in Concord at some place, and me and Marcus were wrestling a couple of guys, and he ended up tearing his ACL in his knee.
Wow.
And so, I mean, which really didn't go good. And then he didn't know it for sure, like right off the bat. And then we wrestled at a show in Baltimore the next month in February for Ring of Honor, and he messed it up even worse. And then on top of that, that was 2020. So on top of that, COVID hit. They kind of shut down for a while. So I mean, yeah, we were promised stuff at Ring of Honor, just didn't work out. And then, I mean, it kind of worked out for the better because like I am where I am now, and then Marcus is getting better. He's gonna be up in the big leagues any day now. I feel like so. I think it worked out better for both of us in the long run.
Well, you formed the Varsity Blondes with Brian Pillman Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So things did kind of work out with you, at least in terms of tag team. What is it like wrestling with someone who is a second generation wrestler? Is there more pressure because of the name Brian Pillman Jr. that you're tagging with them? Do you feel that, or what's that like wrestling with a second generation wrestler?
Well, a lot of people actually don't know this. I've actually wrestled probably a year and a half longer than he has. So we're kind of in the same boat where it's like we're both kind of young, green, inexperienced. So we kind of learn from each other. Like there's some things I can learn from him and take away from him. They're like about, personality, being entertaining and stuff like that. And there's a few things he can take away from me. So it's kind of like a good balance. Like we bounce off of each other. I don't think there's any pressure per se, but I think it's just because we've only been in the game for so long. Like it's like I think it's like 5 years for me and like 4 years for him, something like that. So I think we bounce off each other well, and we reflect off of each other well. So we like to learn a lot from each other. So.
Thing I think is really cool about you guys' tag team. The first wrestling event I ever went to was I was 7 years old, 1993, LJVM Coliseum Annex. It was a WCW house show, and I saw Brian Pillman, Steve Austin, the Hollywood Blondes, and I just remember seeing that. And even though they were heels, I just remember just being so impressed by how good they were. Mm-hmm. And then seeing where they went to from there, and then their program in WWF after they both kind of moved on from WCW, and then to come back, and somebody who you're from Winston, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Somebody from Winston teaming up with Brian Pillman's son, which is kind of cool to me, just as a personal thing, because that was Winston-Salem is where I saw my first wrestling event. I know that Brian Pillman died, probably I don't know, right around the time you were just being born, but
Yeah.
do you remember him at all or anything like that? Or have you gone back to watch some of his matches to see how he, how he operated in the ring?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't remember. I mean, I do remember him obviously, but like,
Right.
I don't remember him like growing up as a kid because I like you said, I was being born as he passed away. But I've definitely went back and watched some of the Hollywood Blondes matches and stuff with him and Steve Austin. They were, like you said, they were really good. They were really talented, and me and Brian will go back and watch their stuff, like watch his dad and Steve Austin's stuff from time to time just to kind of get some ideas. But we also watch, like the Rock and Roll Express because because we kind of like our gimmicks kind of like the Hollywood Blondes, but we like to do Rock and Roll Express type stuff. Yeah. So because we're real basic, we don't do the whole flip diddy doo dah. So we're just a couple of kids trying to throw a drop kick in a big boot and get out of there.
Nothing wrong with that. Now, being the Varsity Blondes, you and Brian Pillman Jr. both have fantastic hair that I will never achieve ever in my life because of this hairline. But I do have a question. How hard is it to take care of that thing? That mane is flowing. How hard is it to take care of that?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's not too terribly hard. Like I get people say that a lot, but it's not too
natural,
bad.
Dennis.
Most of the time, I'm lazy, man. Like especially if I'm not at work or something, I'll just throw it up in a bun, or if I'm working out or something. But I mean, it doesn't take that long. Like I just got out of the shower. I didn't wash my hair, but most of the time I just get out of the shower. I scrunch it with a old T-shirt. So if you use a towel and you dry your hair, it gets really frizzy. And then after that, I just put some mousse in it. And then I'm on my way. So it takes about 3 minutes after I get out of the shower to fix my hair. So it's not too hard. But I appreciate the hair compliment.
Takes me 3 seconds.
Hey, that's shorter than me, man. So.
I wanted to ask you more about your training and and just kind of how that went right there. I remember a lot of times when I was coming up and learning how to wrestle, it was me, Kozone would come in there. He'd already been wrestling, but he would come in with us and roll around at CWF. Trevor Lee was kind of running everything for us. Manny Garcia, who's No Way Jose, would be in there. It was all these guys. And I remember kind of looking around thinking like, man, there's a lot of talent here. Did you have that moment of intimidation and maybe a moment where you were just like, I don't know if I'll be good at that? And if you had that moment, what got you past that moment to get to where you are now?
You mean like for training? Like where?
Yeah, as you were training.
Well, the first, like I didn't really have like an intimidation factor. I think the first time I went in there, because the first time I went in there, it was just me, Marcus, and LeBron. So I mean, I knew I had Marcus with me, and anytime I don't remember a specific time I ever got intimidated at training, but if I did, like I would just I would say, all right, Marcus, do it, because he would do anything. Like he'll do absolutely anything. Like taking a backdrop in the building with the ceiling so short, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So
like hit your head on that thing.
Yeah, like just some like that's just a random example, but like I would just be like, all right, you do it first, and if he did it, like I had to do it. So I think he got me through it. He got me through training a lot, and as I got closer to LeBron, he also got me through training. So because he's just a really great dude, man, and he knows what he's talking about. So
yeah.
Was there ever an intimidating moment when you got down to AEW saying, hey, you're surrounded by some of the best in the world? Was there a moment of like, am I supposed to be here? Was there ever a moment like that?
Oh yeah. Like the very first time I went, I was like, I don't know if I belong here. Like all these guys are walking around. It's like, I've watched them on TV, and it's just they're famous, and like, they're so good at what they do. And it's just like, I can't say that, but I can't say that though, it's just like, I have to keep to myself and just kind of do my own thing. And it was weird. I tell this story a lot. Like the first time I went though, like I was nervous to say anything. Like obviously I'd go up and say hi to people, but like people would come up to you and say hi, like just your first time being there. And it's just like, those people are so busy, and it's just like, they have so much going on for them to like take a second out of their day just to say, hey, how are you? Like to the kid that's there for the first time. It was really cool. But yeah, definitely had more intimidation moments with like the first few times I went to AEW than probably training. So
you said you could have been a teacher right now, either Forsyth County, Guilford County, or something like that.
Mhm.
And now you're doing your thing with AEW, and you're on national television, almost every week. How has your life changed, with AEW kind of being in your life? And have you had any cool moments where kids are starting to recognize you, where maybe, you've been around and kids who kind of look up to you, see you as a superstar and as a hero as well?
Yeah, no, that happens quite a bit actually. And it's really cool. Like it's that when stuff like that happens, it's very special to me. But yeah, like you said, like last year I was almost a teacher, like probably at Grimsley High School in Greensboro. I'm sure you've heard of
Nice.
Grimsley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Whirlies. Yeah, I was gonna be a history teacher and a football coach. But it's like, yeah, fast forward a year, like a year and a half, 2 years later, and it's like I have kids coming up to me in my hometown, like saying, like, "Oh man, like I watch you on TV every week. Like I think it's so cool." Like, and like people I go to church with, like yeah. I mean, it's kind of cool being like the hometown hero and stuff like that. People recognize you kind of everywhere you go locally and stuff. So
And
it's
this
really
trip,
cool.
you could pretty much roll out of bed and just drive down the street to work. You don't even have to get on an airplane.
Yeah, for to go to the Coliseum. Yeah, I mean it's like a 20-minute drive. Like I can't wait. I'm gonna sleep till 1 o'clock and then go and then just drive right down the road.
You can have any of the roster over to hang out a bit before the show, or
Yeah, I might have the vlog crew come over. Probably before the show because they'll get in the day before. So I might have them come over like a Wednesday and hang out a little bit, maybe show them the town a little bit. So I think that'd be cool.
What makes North Carolina so special for you, whether it's wrestling related, not wrestling for related? Like, what makes North Carolina the state, and specifically where you growing up at? Just such a special place.
I think it's a special place for wrestling, especially because I think North Carolina is very underestimated. I think when it comes to their fans, I think North Carolina has some of the most passionate fans, wrestling fans, because like every time I'd go to the Coliseum and stuff like that, people would just always be on their feet, just cheering. And like I go wrestle in front of some crowds, and a lot of people are sitting down on their phones and not really into it, but like Greensboro, like at the Coliseum, it's always people are constantly on their feet, just jumping up and down, screaming, and they're into it, which I really care for. Outside of wrestling, I think it means a lot to me because like I mean, obviously I grew up here, like my family's here, like like I just have so much of not even just my immediate family, but like outside family lives here too. So just to be able to live close to them and be around them and stuff, it's really cool.
what is next for you all, the Varsity Blondes? What's next for you all in terms of a tag team? You guys have had opportunities to wrestle on national television multiple times. What's next in you all's evolution to be that prominent tag team in AEW that is a stacked tag team?
I think the next step for us to be able to be like one of the top teams in AEW, we just have to we've only been teaming for a year. Like I've only known Brian Pillman Jr. for maybe a little over a year. So I think we just got to keep building chemistry and just keep learning about each other, keep hanging out with each other. And then I mean, we got nowhere to go but up because we're both young, we're both pretty athletic guys, and I don't know a tag team that just kind of got thrown together out of the blue and kind of have made the strides we have in such a short period of time. So I'm proud of us, but I mean, obviously, yeah, we have a lot more to grow and we can do a lot more and learn a lot more, but I'm proud of how far we've come in such a short period of time.
Was that a house phone and an answering machine in the background?
It was, yeah, it was. I'm still a little old school. So.
Hey,
nice.
Hey, papers on the front porch, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, probably.
But my final question for you is, what tag team at AEW do you enjoy wrestling the most? And is there a tag team out there that you want to continue to work with more?
No, my favorite tag team that I've ever worked with at AEW, and I'll continue to say this probably so I die, is FTR, because those guys are as perfect can come, and they know their craft so well. And it's just the few times I think we wrestled them 2 or 3 times, I can't remember, but I know we wrestled them on Dark and Dynamite. But the couple times we've wrestled them and worked with them, I've learned so much about like not only wrestling but just like tag team wrestling and like fundamentals and stuff like that. And it's just those guys are just so knowledgeable and like they just have such a knack for this. Like it's it's insane. Like I could wrestle those guys every day. They're just so good.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dax is
North Carolina guys.
Yeah, North Carolina guys. Man.
I learned a little bit from Dax. I was starting at CWF as he was heading down to Florida with WWE. So it was cool. So we're excited to see you. Dennis and I will be in the audience in Greensboro. We'll be in the audience in Raleigh as well. And definitely excited to see you. Definitely proud of you as well. Cozone's one of my friends, and to see that one of his first graduates has already made it to the big time and doing just a marvelous job is really big. So it's good, and can't wait to see you perform and also meet you at some point one day as well.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to meet you guys as well.
Yes, sir. All right. So if you want to see Griff Garrison and AEW, if you want to go ahead, I mean, it's going to be a great, holiday gift for somebody. Greensboro Coliseum, December 22nd. Go ahead and get some tickets. Or if it's closer for you to go to Charlotte, January 8th, 7 p.m., Bojangles Coliseum. Or if it's closer for you to be in Raleigh on Wednesday, January 12th, and that'll be at PNC Arena. That'll be at 7 o'clock. And all of these will be on television. So, these will be really good events. They're not going to phone it in. Everything will be televised on this. Griff Garrison, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Chris, that was a fun conversation with Griff. Again, he's an up-and-coming star with the company. And this is he's one of the, not only is a now known face, but is a future big-time face. And when it comes to professional wrestling. I'm excited to go to Greensboro on the 22nd, Chris. It'll be my first time ever in the Greensboro Coliseum for me.
Really? You've never been to the Greensboro Coliseum?
I was supposed to be there back in March of 2020 to cover the first and second round of the NCAA tournament. I was supposed to cover that for the Associated Press for AP Radio, and COVID happened. So I was very excited. But I've never been to the Greensboro Coliseum. So this is very exciting for me to go to the Greensboro Coliseum. Chris, I know I've said some things recently about the Triad. In particular, Winston-Salem. I've said some things.
I'm trying to see where you're going to go with this.
Pit stop on the way to Asheville. I've said some things, and I'll be stopping in Winston-Salem. My girlfriend and I go to Blowing Rock in January. But you know what? Actually, speaking of my girlfriend, she and I are actually going to Winston-Salem for a concert in February. So I will be enjoying Winston-Salem, Chris.
Okay.
I'll be going to a concert in Winston-Salem. So yes.
Which concert are you going to?
Steep Canyon Rangers, another North Carolina band out of Brevard.
Okay.
We're going to be watching Steep Canyon Rangers in February in Winston-Salem. So I will be.
What venue?
Is it RJ Reynolds Auditorium or Reynolds Auditorium, the Winston-Salem Symphony, wherever they're located. So yeah, I'll be in Winston-Salem, Chris.
Okay.
Enjoying an event. So I wanted you to know that I will be in Winston-Salem. I might stop at Foothills. Might get some food there. I
got a better idea for you.
Okay.
Foothills is good.
Okay.
Take your girlfriend on a date to Sweet Potatoes.
Sweet Potatoes. Okay.
Trust me. Just look it up and just say, hey, before this, we're going to go eat at Sweet Potatoes.
Okay.
If you can make some extra time, try to find a Dewey's around there. There's a few around Winston-Salem. Also pick up some pink lemonade cake, square cake.
At Dewey's?
At Dewey's.
Okay. Pink lemonade square cake. Okay.
Yes.
That's all right. Sweet Potatoes in Winston-Salem.
It's downtown.
Okay.
It's downtown. It's right across the street from IMG Learfield.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sweet Potatoes. So it's right there. It's I believe like 6th Street or something like that. It's like 6th and Trade, around that area.
All right. Sweet Potatoes.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing what your review is going to be on this.
Well, I'm assuming Sweet Potatoes has vegan food because you wouldn't recommend it otherwise.
I mean, you can make it, but it's more so of a high class soul food restaurant, so you can get everything that's there.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't been to Sweet Potatoes in a minute, probably I've been since I was vegan. I think I just got they had like a vegetarian plate that I was able to take the cheese off of and got some fried okra. Fried okra is to die for.
Hey, you know what? Believe it or not, I enjoy some okra.
It's good. So I need to know how you enjoyed sweet potatoes when you
All
get
right.
there.
Well, that's going to come up in a future podcast because this concert is until February. But I wanted to let you know, Chris, that I will be enjoying Winston-Salem.
You said you had something special for me, and I wasn't quite sure exactly where you're going to go with it. I thought you were going to get me riled up, but you know what? You're making me proud now. I'm proud of you, Dennis.
That's the point. I had something special for you.
I'm proud of you,
Chris.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah,
and I want you to enjoy yourself and understand that Winston-Salem can be a fun place to hang out at sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad place.
Okay. Anyway,
I like the Trefo. You should go pumping Trefo by Ricky Ruckus as well.
Yes.
Just pull up. Everybody say Trefo. And just pop out the car and say, "Hey, I'm new here. Welcome me, Trefo. Welcome me."
I'm sure they'll welcome me with open arms if I'm playing that. My girlfriend would have her face just buried in her hands, like, "Get me out of here. Who is this man?"
That's funny.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
You would appreciate that. But you know what, Chris? There are opportunities. If I don't get a chance to go to Sweet Potatoes, if I don't get a chance to get some pink lemonade square cake at Dewey's, I can always stop and get some Papa Murphy's pizza before we head out. $10.99 on Tuesdays, large pizzas. Again, any Papa Murphy's you go to, $10.99 large pizzas on Tuesdays. Also, in Raleigh, Wilmington, those areas this month, use UNC33, that code when you check out, Chris, because 33% of your purchase is going to go to UNC Children's Hospital, something that's very important to me, helping kids and youth that need help with their medical bills. It's very important to me. So use UNC33 when you check out, help UNC Children's Hospital.
Great cause. And we hope that you guys meet us at one of the AEW events. We're going to be the one in Greensboro, and we're going to be at the one in Raleigh coming up next year. So I'm excited for it. I know you're excited for it. And we're going to be cheering for Griff Garrison and the Varsity Blondes.
I will say this last thing real quick. I went to the show in Charlotte back in July, and an AEW wrestling show is a live Dynamite nonstop. It's nonstop, go, go, go. Nothing slows down. It's a fantastic time. If you're not a big wrestling fan, if you just love live entertainment, you'll love it. You will love it.
It's a great new experience for you. So
yeah, and here's the thing. You don't have to, again, like wrestling or know any of the wrestlers. It's just a good time.
Absolutely. Well, we will keep you updated on it, and hopefully we'll have more from AEW right here on the podcast. But for now, hope you guys are enjoying your holiday season and getting ready for the holidays. Have a very safe holiday season for you and your family. Dennis, we out.
The Culture State Podcast, part of the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, with new shows coming out every Wednesday. Download and subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts, including the WREL Sports Fan app.